New tattoo, who dis? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So sorry for my little absence for the last few weeks. Going through some personal stuff, just been dealing with some emotional things. And then also I've been working really hard on stuff for you guys. I've been working on my website, I've been working on the services I'm going to offer on my website. I'm going to be offering some classes, so I've been working on the class material, getting everything set up so that I can launch that in July. So I'm sorry that I've been absent, but I'm back now, uploading regularly, and I will be back on Twitch soon also, streaming. So thank you for hanging in there with me. I'm so sorry to make you guys wait for content, but I'm back. So today we are continuing talking about deities. We're doing another deity spotlight. So today we're going to be talking about the goddess Sekhmet. Sekhmet has been highly requested, especially since I talk about her a lot because I work with her. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future uploads. There are a lot of exciting things coming, and I want you to be a part of it, so subscribe so you don't miss my future videos. So let's get right into the video. Sekhmet is an ancient Egyptian deity. She is a cat goddess, a lioness goddess, and she is a goddess primarily of protection and healing. She is a warrior goddess. She is very strong and powerful. She's very fierce, ferocious. It is said that her followers are called her kittens because she protects them like a mother lion would. She's very ferocious in that way, and she will smite a hoe down. She's also said to be twins with Bastet. I did make a video about Bastet already, so if you're interested in learning about the goddess Bastet, I'll link that down below, and you can find that on my channel. But she's said to be twins with Bastet. They're kind of the two main cat goddesses in ancient Egyptian society. There were several cat goddesses, as cats were such a big part of Egyptian culture, but Bastet and Sekhmet are said to be twins. Like a lot of ancient Egyptian deities, she has two strong sides to herself. So the one side is very strong and protective and ferocious and warlike. That side is more destructive and dangerous and chaotic. And the other side is more protective and healing. Sekhmet is said to be the most important of the lioness deities. Like I said, there were so many cat deities within ancient Egypt, but Sekhmet was the most widespread, most important one. And Sekhmet is a bit different than some of the other cat deities that you will see in ancient Egypt because she is a lion and not a domesticated cat. So you'll see behind me, and maybe I'll add in a separate shot of this so you can see better, but I have a statue of Bastet. She is the main goddess that I work with. She's the first deity I ever started working with, and you see in her statue she is represented as a domestic cat. She's not represented as a woman. She is sometimes represented as a woman with a domestic cat head, but she is oftentimes depicted as just a domesticated cat. So you will see in my statue of her that it's just a cat. And then when you look at Sekhmet, which is, she's up here, she is more of a woman with a lion head. So she is not a domesticated cat. She is a wild cat. She is a lion. So she is always depicted as a woman, the body of a woman, with the head of a lion. She is the daughter of the Egyptian god Ra. So the sun god, she is the daughter of the sun god. That is why she is so powerful. She has that powerful sun energy. And Sekhmet is said to be the most important creation of the eye of the sun god, Ra. And one of the most popular stories about Sekhmet, and one of my favorites, is that when Ra was having trouble with his subjects, all the humans were behaving in problematic ways, not doing what he wanted of them. He sent Sekhmet down to set them straight and get them in line. And the way the story goes is that Sekhmet was so ferocious and powerful that she accidentally almost killed them all being all of humanity. So that's how ferocious Sekhmet is. You set her on a path of destruction and she will destroy. So that's a fun little story about how Sekhmet almost destroyed the human race. Egyptian pharaohs adopted Sekhmet as a patron of war and of military. They would use her as a sign of their military strength, and they would ask her to help them in battle. And Sekhmet is said to breathe fire on her enemies. This again connects back to her being the daughter of the sun god Ra. She has that fiery energy, that sun energy, and that comes through in mythology, saying that she can breathe fire at whoever she deems her enemy. And the hot desert wind is often called the breath of Sekhmet. And Sekhmet, this is going to hit a little close to home, prepare yourself. Sekhmet is also associated with plagues and with epidemics. So that's not great. But she is associated with plagues, with widespread illnesses. So she is kind of associated with that chaotic spread of illness that leads to a lot of destruction and death. So not only can Sekhmet be called on to cause plague, or can be said that she's responsible for plagues or epidemics, but she can also be given offering to ease a plague or an epidemic. You can work with her to try to calm a widespread illness, give her offering so that she will calm down in the epidemic area a little bit. And Sekhmet was usually also charged with protecting the pharaohs of ancient Egypt in a kind of motherly way. Again, her followers are kind of seen as her kittens, so she protects her followers, she protected the pharaoh as if she were a cat mom, a lion mom. And the pyramid texts even state that Sekhmet conceived the pharaoh, so she's seen very directly as the pharaoh's mother. And Sekhmet is also called the Mistress of Life for her healing abilities. She has very strong healing abilities. So not only can she be destructive and chaotic and cause plague and epidemic and death and breathe fire, but she's also very strongly associated with healing. And if you think about this from an energy healing perspective, it makes sense that she has these two things all within her. They might seem very counterintuitive, they might seem very opposite, but really the most chaotic energies, the most destructive energies can pave the way for the most healing and the most growth and the most transformation. So that is how she holds all these things at once. Sekhmet is also a consort of Pitta, the Egyptian god of craftsmanship and creating. Pitta is kind of he's a creator deity, so is kind of an inventor, a craftsman. The two of them are kind of friends and confidants, and together they ruled Lower Egypt. And if you've watched my previous videos, I think in my Bastet video is where I talk about the concept of Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. Remember, Lower Egypt is above Upper Egypt. It's confusing, but it's the way the Nile flows. The Nile flows from the south to the north, so Upper Egypt is at the bottom, and Lower Egypt is at the top. So together, Sekhmet and Pitta ruled Lower Egypt. And Sekhmet is the mother of Nefertem. And Nefertem is, I actually don't know that much about her, but Nefertem I know came from a lotus flower. Sekhmet is also very strongly associated with Hathor. She's also linked strongly to Mut. And she's described a lot of the time as the aggressive counterpart to Mut. And Sekhmet is also strongly linked to Pakhet. Pakhet is the lioness goddess of Middle Egypt. So remember, we said there are a lot of cat deities and lioness deities within ancient Egypt. So all of them are connected in one way or another, simply because they all have in common that they are cat or lioness goddesses. So Sekhmet is also very strongly connected to Pakhet. So we want to remember when we're working with Sekhmet, all these things we've said. She's strongly connected to fire and the sun. That will help you with any spell work you're wanting to do with her. Incorporate fire, incorporate sun magic. She's a warrior. She's a strong powerful protector spirit and healing spirit. She can be very chaotic and very destructive. And like Bastet and all the other lioness and cat deities from ancient Egypt, she's very strongly associated with catnip. And catnip is something that you can give her as offering. I often will give my cats catnip to honor Bastet and Sekhmet. So I give the offering through my cats. And remember, like we said, she is so chaotic, so that feeds into her healing abilities. She's a very transformative deity. She's very strong in activating things. So she can help you to level up, to learn past lessons, and ascend to the next level. That is very much so her thing. Remember, she has that strong sun energy, and that shows through in all of her attributes. In my work with Sekhmet, something that she helps me a lot with are my healings on others, and my healings on myself, but especially when I do healings on others. I will call on her to not only aid me in my healing and direct my hands and my attention to the areas that need the most healing, but I will also call on her to protect me from any energies that are not mine. Anyone who's a healer or even a medium, a psychic, any kind of spiritual worker where you're doing readings for other people, doing healings on other people, anything like that, where you're coming into contact with other people's energies very closely, you have to guard your own energies because you can take on things that aren't yours, and those things can show up in physical illness, emotional distress. Forgive my interruption, I just found this cat whisker on the floor. So when you're doing healings, you have to really protect yourself against those energies that aren't yours. Any pain or trouble or problems that that client is bringing into the session with them, I call on Sekhmet to protect me from those things also. So not only does she aid me in healing people, she also aids me by protecting me. And you'll see, and again, I'll take a couple shots of my Sekhmet altar more up close so you can see better. But I have a candle in front of Sekhmet, a black candle. That candle is strictly for protection, and I only use it for Sekhmet. So whenever I need her to protect me, I light that candle. And she knows that I need her protection in that moment. She is also the deity I charge most strongly with protecting me physically. She also protects my cats. I have a little area for my cats. If you want to see a video of me making that area for my cats, it's on my channel. I'll link it down below. But she protects my cats. She protects my physical body as well as my energy field. Sekhmet is also said to be a pregnancy and birth goddess, which again makes sense. Her being a sun deity, she is very strongly a creator and a transformation deity. So, like we said before, she can help to transition you from one thing to the next. She can help you ascend. She can help you transform. So that is the same when it comes to birth and pregnancy. She can help you to take those final steps from pregnancy to having a little baby. So she is helpful for if you're pregnant, if you're giving birth, she can aid you in that process. You know, bringing new life into the world is the ultimate creation, the ultimate transformation. So that falls within her realm of knowledge as well. So like we said, she is always depicted with the body of a woman and the head of a lioness. She's often wearing a long wig, and she often has a solar disc on the top of her head. She's typically wearing a long dress or some kind of dress, and it's usually got red in it, or it's completely red. And the red highlights and represents the fact that she is warlike and she is a warrior. But the red also shows that she is a native to Lower Egypt. And she often has kind of a rosette pattern around her breasts and nipples. This to the eye looks more like battle armor and protection, but it's more likely a representation of the constellation Leo, which is the strongest constellation she has a connection with, being a lion. She's also usually holding a papyrus scepter, which is another native symbol of Lower Egypt. And sometimes you'll see statues where it looks like Sekhmet and there's a double crown. I'll try to find some pictures and put them here. But when you see that cat deity with a double crown, that typically represents the fusion of Mut and Sekhmet. So remember we said that Sekhmet is kind of the more aggressive counterpart to Mut. If you see a depiction of a cat goddess from ancient Egypt and they have that double crown, that signifies the two goddesses in one statue. So Mut and Sekhmet in one statue, and that's why you see the double crown. And it's relatively uncommon to see Sekhmet depicted as a full lion. You'll usually see her as a lioness head and a human body. So you won't really be seeing her as a full lion, as opposed to Bastet, who is pretty much always depicted as a full domesticated cat. And the main center of worship for Sekhmet was in Memphis, but she had many temples in other places also, being the popular lioness deity that she was. At Abusir, there is a sanctuary that was built in her honor, and she's represented in many Greco-Roman temples. And because Sekhmet is so connected to so many other deities, there are a lot of temples throughout Egypt that are dedicated to multiple deities, such as temples that are for Sekhmet and Hathor. And very, very sadly, there is a statue of her in the Temple of Pitta at Karnak that was actually destroyed by some locals because they were scared that it was going to harm their children. So that's a super sad story that always really bums me out. But so there are a lot of statues of Sekhmet and a lot of temples dedicated to Sekhmet. Priests of Sekhmet would also recite prayers and spells over the sick and injured to heal them, in addition to physical doctors working on the patient. There is also a rite called appeasing Sekhmet, which priests would perform to ward off epidemics. There's also something called the 7 arrows of Sekhmet, which is said to bring bad luck, and spells were recited to protect oneself from her wrath and from her messengers that bring her wrath. There is also a spell called the Book of the Last Day of the Year, which was recited over a piece of cloth that was then worn around the neck to protect one from the dangerous time of the year at the end of the year, which was said to be dangerous in their culture. And many Egyptians would exchange gifts at the end of the year of amulets of Sekhmet and Bastet to appease these goddesses and protect them from bad energies or bad luck. And if you want to know more about a book that you could get about Sekhmet, check out the video I posted on the books that I have on ancient Egypt. There's one book in that bookshelf tour that is all about Sekhmet. So not only can you find books that are about all kinds of ancient Egyptian deities and ancient Egyptian history, mythology, culture, but also in that video is a book all about Sekhmet and only about Sekhmet. And in that book there is a lot of really great stuff about working with Sekhmet. There are hymns to honor Sekhmet in that book. There are prayers, there are spells you can do, rituals you can do, offerings you can give. So if you want to know more and have specific things to do with Sekhmet, you can check out that book. You can also give something as simple as a breath as offering to Sekhmet. Remember we said that she has that fiery breath. The wind is said to be the breath of Sekhmet, the hot wind. So you can give deep belly breaths as offering to Sekhmet. Those deep breaths where you imagine yourself breathing in a complete 360. You feel your lungs expand not only in front, but in back. You feel your back expand, those back muscles. And you want to breathe deep into your stomach. You don't want to keep your breath up here in your chest. You want to breathe down and full. So you can give those breaths as offering to Sekhmet. So knowing all this that we've talked about with Sekhmet, you can probably discern the things that you can do to work with her. You can do protection spells, you can do protection work with her, you can do what I've done and charge her with protecting you at all times, and then also have a candle that you can light when you need a little bit of extra protection from her. If you are pregnant, trying to get pregnant, giving birth soon, you can call on Sekhmet to help you with those things and to guide you through that transformative process, and also to protect you and protect your baby. Remember, she's a lioness, a strong lion mother, so she will protect her young and your young if you follow her with a fierce, fierce power. I almost said ferocity and then I got really sad about pose. You can also do healing work with her. Like I said, she helps me to perform healings on myself and on others. So if you're a healer, or even if you're just trying to heal aspects within yourself, she can help you a lot in doing that. And she can aid you in anything that needs sun energy. So even with things like manifesting things, trying to call things in, She can help you a lot with those things through sun magic. You can do things to honor her when the sun is at its highest, when she's at her most powerful. So keep in mind that she is strongly related to fire and sun. So she can help with anything that needs that fiery sun energy. So any kind of spell work you're doing that needs a lot of power and strength, she can help with that. And because of Sekhmet's chaotic nature and her strength and her destructiveness, she can also aid you in banishings and bindings, anything that you're trying to do to protect yourself, or to cast something away. Again, she is very transformative, so she can help you with any of those transformations that you're making, whether they're toward something or away from something. She can help you with those transformations. So that is all I have to share with you guys about the goddess Sekhmet. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that if you start working with Sekhmet that your journey is long and beautiful. I don't really see myself ever stopping working with Sekhmet. I've talked about in some of my videos how some deities kind of show up for a while for you to support you through a certain thing, or to teach you something, and then they fade away and they move on, and you move on, which is perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we all need things at certain times in our life and then don't need them later, or maybe we need them for a while and then we move away from them and then we need them again in the future. So it's perfectly normal for deities to kind of come and go a certain amount, once your relationship has kind of run its course for the time being. But I don't really see myself moving away from Sekhmet ever. She's been a very strong, protecting, and reassuring spirit for me. And her power is very much so helpful to me. And like I said, she aids me in my practice with clients. When I do healings on people, she helps me so much. And in my day-to-day life, you know, being an empath, she can help a lot if you're an empath with protecting your energy in day-to-day life from other people's emotions, other people's physical sensations. I'm a physical empath and an emotional empath, so I will feel the emotions of others as well as the physical sensations of others. So she helps to protect me from those things. I still feel them, but she helps to make sure that they don't linger. She helps to make sure that nothing stays within my energy field that isn't mine. So she's super protective in that way. Having a relationship with Sekhmet has been so helpful for me, so I hope that it's so helpful to you. If you'd work with Sekhmet, leave in the comments down below what your relationship is with her and how you work with her. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you want to keep up with my day-to-day and everything that I'm releasing and doing. My website is coming soon. I'll be offering classes, mentorship programs, and a few other services that I'll be offering also on my website. So stay tuned for that launch. It will be coming in July. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Blessed be.